the conscious decision to, I might scare the horses in the room here now, have no social media presence? Has anyone in the room ever considered having no social media presence at all? Interesting.
Wow.
Wow.
I think we had one hand.
Wow.
Was there a
I
hand?
saw one.
No?
Can I just do a bit of survey as well? How old were you when you had started having social media presence? So, 13?
Okay,
14?
hands up.
Keep your hand up and then I can just see as a room above. 14? 15? 16?
Interesting.
Okay, cool.
Wow.
Is anyone having below 13? Okay.
Oh, interesting.
That's just really
Wow.
interesting for us.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
quite interesting to see.
I've had the experience of completely detaching from social media and that as a conscious movement.
Yeah, it's an interesting one.
Yeah.
Um,
Has anybody ever put their phone down and said, I'm not doing this for a week?
I have
One over there, yeah? Any others? Two?
I have a
Two.
friend. I have a friend who she's based in Brighton, and she has social media like detoxes, as they
Yeah.
call it, for like a week at a time. She'll just like turn off, and she said she has to do the really extreme thing and delete the apps off her phone and just kind of come off completely. Her account is still there, but she just isn't doing it for a week at a time. I work for a company who came off social media a couple of years ago and made quite a big statement about it and about the ethics of it and about how social media is damaging to mental health, and and they want to sort of not sort of promote that or perpetuate
It's a very big
that.
company as well that
Yeah,
did it.
quite a big company.
Yeah.
And they love baths. And so that was a huge thing a couple of years ago. And what was really interesting was they also wanted to reach their customers organically and naturally. And they've said it's very interesting how no other companies have really taken they had a lot of positive feedback from other companies and individuals and sort of smaller brands as well, saying this is great, this is so brave, what you're doing is so innovative. But none of them have really kind of followed up on that and come off social media because they can't really afford to necessarily.
It's the fear.
Yeah, there is a fear, definitely. And also the kind of personal kind of FOMO you feel. Like my sister was picked on social media, and she came off social media a couple of years ago. And that was kind of her own sort of journey. It was because she just couldn't handle it anymore. She found it too damaging whenever she logged in. And, and constantly comparing herself to other people and being picked on by other people. So I've never done it myself, but I do find these days, in all honesty, I struggle to post things because I worry that it's going to be taken a certain way, or, I'll get negative comments, or there's a pressure to be your authentic self and find your niche and all that kind of stuff. But then I also have people who they can't not use social media because it's their job. That's how they reach people. It's an interesting one.
I think my experience is when you were just talking about struggling to post things because you're worried about how they might be viewed. Obviously, my political TikTok aside, there's not really worried about what people think about that one. But in terms of my personal stuff, I'd say I'm literally inactive on social media nowadays. Like I scroll every now and again on my phone, but in terms of actually making content and posting things, I just don't do it at all anymore, because I think I'm worried about the same thing. Because no matter how clear the vision is in my head, it can be perceived in any kind of different way. So,
I'm similar to that, but I'm just lazy. I think, like we said earlier, it is an effort, and not only especially if you've got a commodity, if you're selling a product or you're selling yourself and your skills. It is an effort to make sure that you post something every day. You've got to keep up with what's trending with the algorithms. Is it hashtags? Is it reels? Is it carousels? Trying to constantly keep up with that. And there's the job side of it. That's exhausting enough. But then to go onto your personal page and have to do the same again, or, I don't know, maybe it's just like, I can't be asked with telling the world about my life. It's like I'd rather just live my life as opposed to film it and then post about it.
If you do enough of it for work,
exactly.
You lose a bit of interest.
Yeah, you lose interest, and I don't know. Just scrolling takes up a painful amount of time in your day.
how often?
You do it without thinking.
Does anybody get those screen time, like your screen time has gone up by whatever percentage? How many of you does it go down? Does it go down more than it goes up? No, absolutely not. Goes up every time you get a report.
Do you set goals? Like, do you ever kind of think, right, this week I'm going to have it below 30% or something? I say 30.
No.
Mine was way more.
No, you look at it and look at that number and think,
just
oh
feel
my
the
God,
shame.
I've got to do
go,
less. You never make an active decision, none of you. I mean, I don't blame you. It's addictive. Scrolling is addictive, and there's always something that you find, and especially if you're selling yourself and you're a commodity. Yeah. If you're a musician, you're going to be scrolling because you want to know what other musicians are doing.
Yeah,
and you're getting inspired by what they're posting, and you're like, oh, I could do something like that. So of course it's inspirational, but it's addictive. It's very addictive.
For sure.
I've got a question for you guys.
Yeah.
So in my job, I don't really use social media for my job.
Okay.
But I know that in what you two are up to, it's fairly important in your jobs. What are your kind of top tips, I suppose, on how to deal with every element of it, I suppose, turning a person into a customer, dealing with potentially some negative comments. How do you round yourself to pick up the phone and still operate your business via your phone?
I'll say the same thing again about only following people who are going to make you, it sounds really strange, going to make you feel good and feel seen and relate to, rather than people who, like, I don't follow any of the Kardashians, I don't follow, I don't actually follow that many celebrities. I follow mostly kind of people, or like, I guess some influencers, but a lot of them are kind of, a particular type who are very authentic and very sort of confident and all about the, the good stuff, but also share like the less than perfect stuff. And also it's very easy for me to say, but try not to obsess too much or put too much of your time and energy into it, because and try and find fun in it rather than feeling obligated to it, I guess, and feeling like it's this big part of your social life and professional life. Just having kind of a sort of more healthy relationship with it, in how often you use it and how deep you go into it. If you feel yourself going into a wormhole, pull yourself out. Yeah, it's easier said than done. But
if you're obsessing over something, how to post it, when to post it, and everything, you kind of just have to remind yourself that it's gone in 24 hours. A story literally is gone in 24 hours. But even if it's a post that's going to be there on your grid for until you delete it or whatever, the engagement, the reach is so short-lived. Unless you post something that goes viral and you have a gazillion thousand likes, whatever. But, you're only at the top of somebody's feed for such, like, blink of an eye, really. And you'll have spent hours obsessing over what it is you're going to post. And, but I think for me, I would say a similar thing to you. I think it's about, like, pick your tribe. Pick the people who you want to engage with, who you get good engagement back from, and learn from them as well. If you're listening to the right people and paying attention to the right people, being influenced by them, it's like, I like the way that they do that. I want to pay more attention to that. I want to aim to be more like that. Like, I could just go off and follow all of these like epically professional, fancy celebrity nail techs, but actually that doesn't really have any bearing on what I do on a daily basis. It doesn't affect me on a daily basis. It makes no difference to who comes and sits in my chair and who pays me money, and it doesn't teach me anything watching, Harriet Westmoreland go and do somebody's nails with Chanel products or whatever and walking around that like has no bearing on me whatsoever. But there'll be educators out there who give me brilliant advice about social media within the beauty industry, or anything like that. And it's like, that's the kind of person I want to listen to, and that's what you should be taking in. I think that's how I deal with it, is picking the right people and learning and appreciating, and reaching out to the people that you want to have an influence on, so potential customers, things like that.
Knowing what you're about and finding the right kind of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.